suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GLC 30, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order, imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Southborough Youth Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so at the following manner. Do I have to read the website?
No.
Okay. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will put on Southborough's website an audio or video recording transcript or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible following the meeting.
Right. Sarah Mikas, our secretary, is not with us at this meeting, so we need to appoint someone to take minutes of the meeting.
I volunteer.
Okay.
Thank you, Marguerite.
Thank you, Marguerite.
Unless anyone desperately wants to do it.
No.
No, that's why I didn't volunteer.
Okay. So the first item is to review and approve the minutes from the July 7th meeting that Sarah Mikas had sent out previously.
Second?
I make a motion to.
Oh,
approve
yes,
the
thank you.
minutes.
Yeah, I can't make a motion to do that, so. But
Okay.
Sue, you seconded it.
Okay.
Okay, Landry, aye.
Oh, Butka, aye.
I didn't hear what the motion was for.
To accept the minutes as written.
Oh, okay. Beth Dombacher, aye.
Leslie Haddon, aye.
Okay. Moving right along then is the director's report. Fortunately, I got that to you guys in with much more notice than last time. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on what's written there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Seeing none, we can move forward.
Okay.
Last board meeting, I had made a request for use of our donation account funds. And I need to amend the request because if you guys recall, when reviewing the budget from the last board meeting, there was accidentally $1,892 added into our budget by accident. I had included that as for use with our contracted services line item. Since our board meeting, I had received feedback from the town treasurer that we should act as if that money is not part of our budget. So we actually, in order for us, just to jog people's memories, because it was a month ago now, we were looking for some additional funds to be able to continue seeing Rona Cairns for consultation purposes, for my supervision and for our clinical consultation. Since things have closed down and we have been using her very regularly. Megan and I have been meeting with her once a week for an hour and a half each time, which often feels like not enough. I tell her all the time, I wish I could see you 5 hours a week. And she would say, no, please don't do that. But at any rate, for us to be able to continue to see her for an hour and a half a week, which would be the ideal scenario. We previously voted, or you guys previously voted to approve that our department used $3,208 from the donation account, but we now, because we cannot use the 1892 that was accidentally added to our budget, we need an additional, I'm just rounding up to $1,900, $1,900. So I'm coming back to you to say, can we add that to 1,300, making a total of roughly $5,000 total. You've already approved the 3,200, so I'm just looking for an approval of an additional 1,900.
I make a motion to approve the additional 1,900 from the donation account.
Second,
Carl Landry,
Yep.
aye.
Beth Dombacher, aye.
Sue Blecker, aye.
Leslie Hadden, aye.
All right. In addition to the amendment to that request, one of the things that was brought up in the last meeting was to further discuss the donation account. And I think that stems from the fact that there's always been questions about its use. As I had said previously, the only sort of guidance I have received in terms of how we can use that is for things that are not covered in our operating budget. When I took over in 2016, there was quite a bit of money already in that account, and each year we unexpectedly get donations or things that are not earmarked for anything in particular. And they go into the town donation, our department's donation account when that happens. So we have some ideas of how that money can be used. I haven't formally talked to Megan and Shannon about this, but we have ideas of ways that we can use money, and that has been a discussion previously. I have things like workshops, speakers, possibly some additional personal protective equipment to have here, should we be in a position to eventually see people in person, which is not the case right now, but as we all know, we're kind of in this for the long haul. So those are just some ideas to throw out there, but I don't know if people have questions about the donation account specifically, or want to throw out some other ideas. And I just want to, I should have said this at the top of the meeting. I have to excuse myself at 2 o'clock for another meeting, as does Shannon and Megan. I'm not sure if it's exactly at 2 o'clock, but they have a youth council meeting that starts at 2:30, right? Is that right, ladies? So
Is that your first one, you guys? Is that the first youth council in a while, or?
oh, they've been meeting every week.
Oh, that's great. That's super.
This whole time. Yep. And they were on, youth council was on Coffee Talk this morning.
That's great.
Oh, that's
With
cool.
two of the kids that came on and talked to us about youth council. It was really awesome.
So after the 1,900 comes out of the donation account, what will the approximate balance be?
Yep. So I'll pull up the director's report.
I didn't see, is it on there? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I had printed it and I didn't see it on
Yep.
there. I missed
The
it.
current balance of the donation account is $11,037.67. That does not include, so the total that I have requested to spend is $5,100 between what you approved last week and what you approved today. So that money is still in there. So take $11,037.67, subtract $5,100. And that
Okay.
is what would be still available.
Okay, so that's 5,800 plus 5,837.
So this may be the kind of thing that, you know, people individually want to think about, some ideas of how to spend these funds, whether to spend the funds. But I really wanted to circle back just to find out if anybody had questions that I can try to answer about the donation account.
I still come back to the point that I have no problem with spending down the balance that's there. But I feel that we should have some procedure in place when future amounts are made inadvertently to that account. I don't see why we can't just go back to the people and ask them to send another check to the Friends of group. It doesn't seem logical to me to keep both accounts going when we're fundraising for Friends, and it just seems inconsistent to me.
Sure. Yep, it's most of the time these are donations that are not at all solicited. And Pilgrim Church, for example, sends a check. They have in the past. I don't believe we received one this year, for $500, just because they support our department. I will say that I think that's much more likely or realistic an endeavor to follow up with donors once we have administrative support. It's one of those details that actually takes some sleuthing and reconnaissance work to track down someone who's made a donation that we weren't expecting to receive. And that, you know, we could go back to them and say, but we do make every effort to encourage folks to make a donation to the Friends of group versus to Southborough Youth and Family Services.
Would the Pilgrim Church object to making that donation to the Friends of group? Like, do they specifically want it to go to the town department?
I don't know the answer to that question. Like I said, we did not receive one this year. And they've had some changeover in their administration.
Right.
So it's a little tricky to reach out to somebody who's made a donation to then, you know, to say, hey, if you ever do make a donation in the future, you know, but certainly something we can consider doing and formalizing a process that feels comfortable.
Yeah, I just feel that perhaps the new admin could reach out to somebody who, not prospectively, but after the fact, and say, thank you so much for your donation. However, could you please, you know, this is a town department. Could you please reissue the check? We'll send this back to you. Could you please reissue it to the Friends of group? Just so that you don't have the same issue of trying to spend down the money and where can you spend it?
Yeah, it is a bit of a process also to, whenever we get a donation, we have to write a letter to the selectmen asking for them to accept the donation. For example, we received a check for $100 for Southborough Youth and Family Services. So I wrote a letter to the selectmen asking them to accept this $100 donation. We have to wait until the selectmen have a meeting. They vote to approve it. Then we have to wait till we receive a memo saying that they have approved it. And then we can go to town hall for them to deposit it. So there's several reasons why that makes a lot of sense. It's just tricky. We want to come up with some language that is not offensive or anything like that to somebody who's gone through the trouble of making a donation.
I don't think anyone would be offended by that.
Some could. Just a couple of people.
Well, what do other departments do, Sarah? Like, does this same thing happen with the senior center, for example, or
the rec department? Or
I don't have any idea if they have a donation account. I know the recreation, for example, has a revolving fund, which is quite different. And actually, I think we should put that on the agenda for next time because I talked with the recreation director about a revolving fund, and that could be something that's of interest to us, but it has to go to town meeting to get approval, and so that would go for next year.
Gotcha, okay.
But what would that allow us to do is that there would be funds that roll over from one year to the next that can actually be used as part of our budget. So
Maybe when we have our administrative assistant, this is a discussion we could revisit if we all sort of check out how different departments do it and then come back and look at a model that might work for us since we'll have an admin. I think it all seems to be different for every department, and it seems way overworking it to have to go to the selectmen for $100.
Donation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, see, I
Yeah.
agree. So maybe that's a good discussion to have when we know what the admin would like to take on. And also we could sort of each ask around and see what everybody else is doing.
Right. Okay. If it's okay, I'm going to move us along then. Beth, I know you had asked for an update on the administrative assistant position. Did you have a specific question you wanted to ask, or do you want me to just give an update?
I was just looking for an update to see if you had applicants or if you had gone through that application process with anyone, just general information.
Sure. We had, I want to say, I don't know why the two numbers in my head are 32 and 46. I'm not sure why. But either one of those, that was the total number of applicants we had.
I'm sorry, I
Vanessa
didn't hear that. I didn't hear the number.
32 or 46, I can't remember. I want to say it was 32 applicants that we reviewed, and we narrowed that down to 14. And then I met with Shannon and Megan to talk about some of the possible candidates. And we shortened that list. I met with the town administrator, the assistant town administrator, to discuss anyone that we wanted to see. And we had our first not face-to-face, Zoom to Zoom meetings with people yesterday. The intention here is so what we did yesterday and what we're going to be doing next Tuesday is some very sort of fast-paced speed dating sort of interviews. They're about 20 minutes long, just to get a sense for who we might actually want to really talk about. Oh, someone needs to let me in. Sue Byer. So Tom, if you're there, could you let Sue Byer? She's one of our board members. She's in the waiting room, it looks like, or stuck somewhere. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Hi, Sue. I love that picture when she first.
I think she's muted.
Well, she might be able to hear us, but we can't hear her because she is. Sue, your microphone, Susan, your microphone is off. If you can turn it on, we'll be able to hear you and your
Okay.
video. Oh,
Okay, all right.
hi.
Oh, sorry. I was listening and I was clicking everything I could think of and nobody was paying any attention, so I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. We're glad you're here.
And finally that
Welcome.
came up and I said, well, I'm going to type something and see if anybody sees it. So,
We saw it. We saw it. Sorry you were stuck there. Thank you for
Sorry.
letting us know. I'm just turning this participants off.
Oh.
So I was just giving an update on the administrative assistant position. We're just doing some really quick interviews with folks with the intention of selecting a smaller pool of people to do in a more extensive interview, including Megan, Shannon, Sue. I have to talk to you about that, but somebody from the board to participate and give feedback on the different candidates. So that will sort of be coming down the pike, but we're just sort of in this initial phase of going through some of the applicants that we wanted to learn more about. And I would say already we can screen in a couple and screen out some. So that's sort of where we're at right now.
Now, that's exciting.
Yeah. Excuse me, any other follow-up questions about that? No? Okay.
Are you looking, again, are you looking at a September 1 start date at this point?
That is what it's budgeted for. And we are hopeful for, but if we don't have the right candidate, we won't pursue that until we are happy with the selection. Just an update, we also have a board vacancy as Natal Gandhi she and her family are in the process of moving. I don't know how many people have had an opportunity to meet Lauren Ritchie. She is somebody who recently became involved, came on our radar because she's a member of the 100 Women of Southborough and wanted to nominate Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission to receive a grant award from 100 Women of Southborough. The meeting that was supposed to review her application was canceled because of COVID. It was in March. It was like the day before. It was so sad.
Yeah.
Everybody had put so much work into it. But then she became sort of more interested in staying on and involved in Friends. And she has expressed interest in the vacancy. And so I know Sue has had a chance to talk to her. Leslie, you've had a chance to work with her. So if anybody else would like an opportunity to chat with her, I'm sure she'd be very happy to share her contact information. And
I really do believe she's going to be a great fit.
I know that she's scheduled to go to the selectmen meeting on whatever the 18th. There's a meeting on the 18th. I'm not sure which day of the week that is, to talk with them about her interest, and they have some questions for her. So, so if anybody would like to chat with her ahead of time, I'm happy to reach out to her and ask her if we can share her contact information so you can have an opportunity to meet her.
Shannon, I believe you may have met her at my house.
I did. She's great.
Yeah,
So,
she's fantastic.
yeah.
She wanted to join us today, but she had another meeting, a task force meeting. So she couldn't, and those are going to end shortly. I think she's got a paper that she has to submit September 1st. So she will be able to join us after that.
Great. Migration to town email. I'm not sure who put that on the agenda, but if somebody has something they want to say about it, I do want to thank Tom LaFlamme, the town's IT director, for putting on a training to help people with accessing their town email and some additional information. So if anybody has anything they want to say about that.
That was me, and I just put it on because when I did the agenda, it wasn't clear that everyone was using their town email for all their town. So this is,
Thank you, Marguerite.
yes, I know, we've now seen the light, Sarah, thank you. So I just wanted to put that in to say, yes, we are all on the same page, literally. Anyway, that's it.
Great. If anybody,
So I would just like to add,
go ahead.
oh, I would like to use my town email exclusively for town
Okay.
business. And so everyone could like take my personal email off of the group email.
So not
for,
CCing your personal email in addition
Yeah,
to using.
yeah.
Okay.
but but of course, if you want to get in touch with me personally, then of course you may use my
Okay.
personal email.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
If
Thank
anyone needs some beautiful upholstery work done, they can reach out to Beth
Yeah.
personally and say,
you. Yeah.
Beth, I need to
Or if
employ
you just
your
want to
services.
say hi.
Yes, or if we
yeah,
just want to
yeah.
say hi. Yes.
So Sarah, are
yeah.
you gonna start exclusively using our town emails then and not our personal? And how often should we be checking that account then?
This is why I was CCing everybody's personal email account, to make sure that you were aware that you were getting emails. So what I had been doing, but if you specifically ask me in particular, or, you know, Beth has made it known she would like it to just be her town email address. So I'm happy to do that for anybody else who wants to only use their town email address. But what I would say is that if you receive an email in your personal account that is board related, that I'm CCing that just to make you aware that you are getting an email, but that you should respond via your town email account.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good to know.
It's just really to make sure that it's on your radar, because I don't know how often you're checking your town email account. So
Basically, all board business should be on town email.
yes,
That's what Tom said, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, he did say that during the training, so.
and Tom was gracious enough to record that training, and I did email it to everybody. But if you need me to send that again, please let me know. I'm happy to share it again. Or, you know, if you need a refresher, have a follow-up question or something like that. Grant proposals. One of the reasons why I had advocated that the board meet during summer months was so that we could discuss plans for the upcoming year. You know, historically, we have had this break during summer months, and then, you know, we have continued to go about our business here and make decisions about what to do for the subsequent fiscal year and grant proposals. And so I'd love to get the board's input on what to apply for. I do want to share what we have discussed. I had planned to talk to Shannon and Megan about this tomorrow, and Megan and Shannon, we still can tomorrow during our staff meeting. But I've had a conversation recently with Tom Crotty, who's the chair of the Southborough Community Fund, about our thoughts on things that we could apply for, but the application process has really just started. I have to work on the grant report for this last grant period. But we, as you guys probably remember, we talked about this way back in March about a strategic planner that we had met with. This is somebody who would help us conduct a needs analysis for the community, as well as develop a 5-year plan for the department, which would be really kind of a living document for us to work off of in terms of helping us guide our more long-term plans. It's an investment, but if any of you have worked with a strategic planner before, you'll know that it's a worthwhile investment for sure. It also would help us, if we continued to participate in strategic planning, would help us possibly be able to conduct more of this on our own in the future. But a lot of other departments participate in this, and the library, for example, the first year I know that Ryan was working on this, he did hire a consultant, and now he conducts the strategic planning in-house himself. So that's a possibility down the line if we decide this is something we want to continue to participate in. The other thing that's on the short list for grant proposals is a consultant for our coalition. Shannon and I met with the Northborough Southborough Coalition recently, and we invited Amanda Decker from Bright Solutions. She's a consultant that helps substance abuse prevention coalitions build their capacity and ultimately apply for a drug-free communities grant, among other things. Our coalition could use as much support as it can get. So we're very interested in having her come on board to consult with us and sort of help coach our coalition in the upcoming months to see if we can get more critical folks at the table to discuss substance abuse prevention in our community. Shannon, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that or if you felt like I covered it okay. Okay. The other thing that I talked with, there's 3 other things that I talked with Tom Crotty from the Community Fund. The prospect of funding some workshops. They're very interested in funding things that are sustainable. Funding a parent workshop is not necessarily a sustainable program unless we were to charge a fee for participation in a workshop. We would certainly set up some sort of a scholarship of sorts, but we don't have a budget for offering the community workshops on an ongoing basis, unless it's ourselves doing it, which we try to do, but we can only stretch ourselves so far. So our capacity to do more would depend on grants. And a number of people that have participated in our workshops in the past have said that they would be perfectly happy to make a contribution or pay a fee. I know that's not the case for every participant, and again, as I said, we would not preclude somebody from coming to a workshop because of, you know, an inability to pay or for any other reason. So that was one idea that I talked about with him. I asked what his comfort level would be with funding a workshop and then for us to charge a fee for people to attend. It's not something we're used to doing. We don't charge people fees for our services. So that one is a little more on the maybe side. The other 2 things, our holiday giving program is going to look very different this year because we anticipate that we may have an increase in the number of families who would like to participate. And we also anticipate that the number of donor groups may not be in a position to donate or may have to donate less. And we also, the way that we're used to handling the volume of things can't happen the same way. It's probably going to need to take place much more so online, where we are ordering things and having them sent to families versus taking in gifts and collecting things from different donor groups. So that needs to be fleshed out a little bit more, but I at least put it on Tom Crotty's radar as saying, you know, we may, you know, they may say no, but we want you to be aware of what all of our needs are and that we may include in our proposal some funds for the holiday giving program, just to help supplement what we expect may be a smaller budget to work with this year. So, and then the last thing, even though I didn't bring it up, was the emergency fund. We have a healthy budget in the emergency fund, healthy for us, but you know, the minute we have a number of people who need very critical things, you know, that will be depleted rather quickly. He brought it up and said, you know, perhaps what we do this year for the grant proposal is, you know, do something like a $5,000 request, or, you know, we'll just wait until it gets closer to sort of touch base on that. But he would like to see that the contributions continue to come in on a regular revolving basis. So
Sarah, can I ask you a
yes.
question about that? I noticed that the something special account rolled over into the emergency
Yep.
fund. So I was just wondering how that came about.
It was a decision that was made because the Something Special Fund had not been touched in a very long time, and we anticipated that the emergency fund was going to need as much as it could possibly get without being. That was a decision we made back in April or so, without being actively in a grant cycle or in a position to ask for or get more funds for the emergency fund. So we made a decision to roll those two things over into the emergency fund, anticipating we were going to need more there. That has not necessarily been the case, but we have the flexibility from the community fund to use those funds as needed. So if we had something that came forward that felt like more of a something special program request, you know, we could still evaluate it under the emergency fund sort of umbrella. I don't know if that answers your
Well,
question.
could you remind me, what was the Something Special Fund intended for initially?
So we had a number of requests that would come in that didn't necessarily qualify as an emergency, but we felt they were critical, or that they were really important to somebody's quality of life. And so we approached the community fund about wanting to make a distinction there, that there were too many times that we felt like we really wanted to respond to the need, but in terms of spending down the emergency funds didn't necessarily feel appropriate. So we established the Something Special program, which is really kind of an offshoot of the emergency fund.
You maybe didn't get to this point yet, but I'm curious how we're going to handle the camper ships going forward with respect to grant applications. Because obviously we have the balance left over from this year that wasn't used.
Yep.
And I'm concerned if we don't apply for the 2021 year, you know, are they going to assume that we no longer need that funding? Is it going to go away, or will we just resume that request the following year?
I think they recognize that this year is unique. Next year maybe too, we don't know, but I don't think that they're going to hold it against the program or us because it wasn't spent this year. I think they know our hands are tied, that camps everywhere we're closing. So they have encouraged us to hold on to those funds and roll them over into next year's program. And thus we are not applying for any camp scholarship funds for this upcoming grant cycle. But I don't think that they're going to be shy away from supporting the program in the future. But you know, as we've said many times, they are very interested in seeing us pursue other avenues of funding for that program anyway, COVID-19 or not.
That's kind of what I was getting at. I had known that was kind of a common theme in the past, is that they didn't want to continue that indefinitely. So
So as part of the sort of 5-year budgetary plan that we were establishing for the department and our operating budget, the hope is to increase our operating budget to include camp scholarship funds. So that's still being addressed through there. I mean, we can't predict exactly what will happen through the budget process or through town meeting, but that's what we were doing to try to address their concern about continually funding that program.
okay.
So let's see. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about any other questions about the grant ideas, or has thoughts of other things that we should consider applying for.
When do they need to be submitted, Sarah, For the community fund,
Soon.
soon.
Yep, September is usually, actually, I might be getting my timelines mixed up because I know that there's a timeline for the report from this past year, which could be September. I've started working on it, but I haven't revisited the information about when that's due, but typically it's September. And it may be a little bit longer, the timeline for applying for proposals for this upcoming year, but typically around the same time frame. And their grant award process, they usually make decisions about programs that they would like to fund in October-ish, and then the award ceremony is usually in early to mid-November.
Okay.
I'm just curious, is the total that you're asking for, the total grant award, similar to prior years? Or would it be significantly less because we are not going to apply for the camperships this year?
I think it'll probably be pretty similar. The consultant and the strategic planner are, we haven't actually parsed out the amounts yet, except I do have a proposal from both of those individuals. And as I said, they're an investment. So in terms of a workshop or the holiday giving program, we haven't landed on an amount to ask for quite yet. So that's to be continued, I think.
Gotcha.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so you guys feel happy with those ideas? Do you have any other thoughts before we move on? No? Okay. I did want to share sort of, also we've got thoughts on our service delivery for this upcoming year. And if only I could find where that is. Oh, you know why? Because it's in a different tab. Hold on. All right, let me see. So this upcoming year, even if things change midway through the year, it's highly unlikely that we are going to be able to pull off Project Friend or Project Friend Plus, given that they are programs where gatherings occur on a weekly basis, and they also include senior citizens who are more of an at-risk population. We had made some attempts in the spring to do some online Project Friend and Project Friend Plus gatherings, and it did not go over very well. So it honestly is both of those programs require a lot of bandwidth from us. So we are going to not pursue trying to figure out how to pull those off for this year. But just wanted to share, so we're going to obviously continue to do counseling. Lisa, in case you're wondering, Lisa is our new graduate level clinician that's joining us this fall for her internship. She's going to be with us 20 hours a week. I'm starting orientation with her on tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm starting orientation with her. I should probably figure out what I'm doing. No, I know. Don't worry, Lisa, if you're watching this. I got you. We are also offering clinical consultation appointments, which is for folks sort of just formally putting it on our menu of services. As if somebody would like to just consult a mental health professional about their situation without necessarily pursuing counseling, without necessarily taking next steps, but just wants to find out, get some feedback, find out that they're on the right path, that we can do that for folks too, where they can meet with us 1 or 2 times or over the phone. I continue to provide supervision for everybody once a week, so that's something that we do on a very regular basis. I'm just reading through my list right here. We have some grant reports and proposals we're working on. Anywhere you see ACRA, that ACRA is what we call it. That is a substance use diversion program that we're working on with hopefully the high school. They have a new principal who are hopefully going to try to offer this to the high school. Also, things look very different this year. But we have a curriculum that we're following. So Lisa, Megan, and I hope to be able to offer that to. So this is like a first-time offense program where youth can be referred to this program to get support around substance use diversion. The coffee talk episodes, we hope to continue. We've had a lot of fun with those. I don't know if anybody has had a chance to watch any. I have to laugh because somebody who applied for the admin assistant position was quoting some of the episodes yesterday, and Shannon joked that we would sign a t-shirt for her or something like that, or we've become famous. No, I'm just kidding. But it's been a lot of fun, and we actually have a lineup all the way through the end of September at this point. So if you all have any ideas of folks that should come on the show, one thing that we've talked about is having somebody come on to talk about nutrition, to talk about sleep health. We're looking for somebody who might be able to come on and talk with us about implicit bias, and maybe even hire that person to do some training in the community. So there's a lot of things that are still on our radar that we're kind of doing some research right now to try to find folks to bring on to talk about those different things. And we welcome your ideas if you have any.
Sarah, you guys won't be going into the schools at all?
It's to be determined. I'm kind of waiting to find out, I know Sue, you've got some inside scoop over there, but we're waiting to find out what's announced with what's happening with the schools. And we also want to give them a little bit of time to settle in, much more time than we usually do. It's possible, but I have to weigh the comfort levels of our staff. We have to consult with Emily Amico, who's the Board of Health nurse. And it's also, I'm hesitant to make any changes because the minute we do, it's just Murphy's Law. Things will change and things will close down, and
Right.
But it's worth the legwork of being able to do it, so that on a moment's notice we could. But again, I think it's really important to consult our staff on their comfort level. I know Lisa, who I just mentioned, is very eager to possibly see somebody in person. Of course, wearing PPE and keeping socially distant. But she has said that she would be comfortable with doing that. So it's a discussion we need to continue.
Okay.
And NSSAPC is the coalition. So Shannon and I will continue to be involved in that. We're doing a lot of counseling referral support. There's some groups in the works for this upcoming year. I know Megan has been working on an executive functioning group. Shannon has been working on 2 different groups. One is a parent support group, and the other one is a technology, technology addiction feels harsh, but a technology conscious workshop. So sort of supporting people and balancing their relationship between screen time and being unplugged in an age where we have to be on screens quite a bit right now. So I hope, Shannon, I've accurately described that.
It sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes. Let's see. Youth Council will continue. Right now, as we previously mentioned, they're continuing to meet every week online. They're a great group of kids. They were on Coffee Talk this morning, a couple of them representatives. Shannon will continue with all the things she has been working on, which are all listed there. There's nothing new. I know
Is
there's a
youth
lot of
council-
acronyms.
I see youth council listed under Shannon's name. Is that new to Shannon, or has Shannon been working all along?
She and Megan, so Megan and I used to do youth council together, and then Megan and Shannon started doing youth council together. As part of the 5-year plan, we're trying to move Megan into a clinical role and put Shannon into a prevention role. So Shannon is the best appropriate fit for youth council, given the prevention work that we hope to see her doing. But for this upcoming year, Megan's going to stay on board. Lisa will also be involved. The reason being is that both Shannon and Megan need some flexibility. Like we've identified a couple of trainings for Megan to go to where she's not going to be able to make it to the youth council meeting. And hopefully, down the line, we will get Megan into that fully clinical role, Shannon into that fully prevention specialist role. But so this is sort of a transition year for us. But Shannon and Megan have been doing it this whole entire last year.
Okay.
And quite enjoy it.
Did I see in your director's report that Shannon's hours are going down during the month of August? And that wasn't due to the budget?
No, it's always been what it's been budgeted for, that she goes down to 20 hours in the summer months. It's just for 8 weeks.
Okay, I thought when she went full-time that went away. I was just curious. I guess I had forgotten that piece.
No, since the start of her full-time hours, she was budgeted for 20 in the summer months. Which
Okay.
is 8 weeks. Yeah. I have to run in a minute, but just to sort of explain some of the other acronyms that are on here. MAM, as we call it, is Mental Health Awareness Month. CAT is Caring Adults Action Team. That is something we're involved with in the Metro West Substance Abuse Prevention Collaborative. So we're a participating town with 5 other communities, and Shannon has been attending those meetings. And I think we covered everything else, and you can see that the admin assistant has 2 pages worth of responsibilities. That's not to say, that we're offloading a lot of work. We will be, but a lot of our work is much more time intensive, whereas some of these are going to be much more incidental things and, not as time consuming, I guess is what I mean to say. So that is our hope and plan for the year. But we are unsure about youth mental health first aid training. There's been some changes to that organization, and they are now offering youth mental health first aid instructors the opportunity to provide the training online, which is great, except that they're asking us to pay, again, $2,000 each to receive this new training. So it affords us some nice opportunities, but it's a little bit of a sticking point for both Megan and I to pay an additional $4,000 when we've already paid $4,000. The other piece too is that in the past we've had the choice, as some of you can attest, you attended one of our trainings. We have been able to provide the training free of charge to people if we've got funding to pay for workbooks. If we do the training online, participants are required to pay for a spot. So that's a change also, which doesn't necessarily stick well with us. We're still, what's that?
I said that seems like a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great program. it's also a business, you know. So I'm really sorry to say I have to excuse myself. I know. I'll just say, I know Friends Report was next on here. The Laurie Sugarman Whittier Wellness Award, we can put off till next time, but I just wanted to say that it's been a really hard year. And there's been a lot of very hardworking people in our community to try to keep people safe and healthy. And I just want to encourage us to consider that even though we didn't end up having our Celebrate Wellness event, that perhaps we still want to nominate someone to receive this award. And I was looking at the plaque in our office the other day and just saying there's going to be an empty space. It's going to go from 2019 to some other year if we don't nominate and award somebody this. So so you guys can chat about that in my absence if you'd like. And then the last piece Sue will go over with you guys. We have some other business that we have to talk about, but I'm really sorry to Jet.
No, good luck. Good luck with your meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing so you can all see each other.
Thank you,
And
Sarah.
I'll see you guys soon.
Bye, ladies. So I like the idea of giving that award out too. I think we should really do that.
Yes, yep, agree.
I don't remember if we had nominees. Did we have any anyway or no?
No, we had talked about it in our last in-person meeting, which was in March. So we were thinking, you know, we had time to like get it together, but that was the last time we talked about it.
What about putting it out on the town website and My Southborough? And basically use the same language that we did for the year before. And then we'll get nominations same way. What do you think?
I think that would work.
Be pretty upbeat at this wretched time.
I know. We need some good news.
Yeah, we do. So maybe we could just take the language off of the one before, wherever that is. Maybe Megan, do you have it? Or Shannon?
No, I don't, but I'm sure Sarah probably had sent like Beth Mello an email or something
Okay.
Initially, because I think that's how people found out about it was from My Southborough. So I'm sure, you know, we can find it somewhere from that initial thing we sent out last year and could just, I like that idea of like some goodness and
Yes.
all.
Yes, absolutely.
We should probably have 3 this year. There've been so
I
many.
know.
We'll
Yeah, I'd
split.
be interested to see, you know, who people, there'll be a lot, I think, but it would be nice to see who people do highlight.
Yes, I think that'd be a wonderful project. It'll pull people together. It'll get us visibility, and there's not going to be a town meeting until next spring, I don't think.
Hmm.
Okay, I gotta leave just for a minute. I'll be right back. Sorry.
So
It's
would the
okay.
idea be we would pick a winner that would be for 2020,
Right.
and then again in May for 21?
Yeah,
Yeah, May of 21. Yeah.
yeah.
How long logistically do you think that takes to, you know, to put it out there, to solicit nominations, and then?
Well, there's
Logistically, I'm thinking, you know, I'm just trying to like realistically, do we have time to do 2 back-to-back that soon? I mean, I guess there's at least,
Well, I think it only took a couple of weeks really last year. Like we just
it's
put
what,
it out
7 months
there and-
apart, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Maybe-
we, I
maybe
think we
even
could do
more.
that.
It's more than 7 months. It's more like 8 or 9 months.
Yeah, and I imagine that given the current state of the world, people will have so many nominees now that they'll probably nominate similar people in May too, you know, like
Right.
there'll be an abundance of nominees now and similar nominees in May. So I don't think there'll be a shortage of people.
I'm so glad she brought that up. That wasn't really on my radar too, so I really think we should do that. All right, I'll talk to Sarah about that. And are we all in agreement? You guys want to do that for this
Yeah,
year?
I'd been wondering, like, we kind of dropped it, but you know,
Hmm.
the situation was we couldn't address everything. So,
I mean, obviously,
but
we
I had been thinking about it.
worry about-
Yeah. No, I just was saying that I had been thinking about it and wondering if we were ever going to pick it back up again. So I'm glad that we came up today.
Maybe we can get right on that and do that this week or start the ball rolling. Okay. What else?
I do want to, I mean, if we're talking new business or when we're talking new business, I wanted to bring up the idea that when are we going to invite the junior board members to join us? And do we need to have a little coaching with respect to what that will look like over Zoom?
I think so. I definitely think so. I feel bad that we haven't seen this year's board members, the junior board members. Have you guys had any, Megan or Shannon, any contact with any of them?
No, I'm like, who are they?
I know, I know.
Like, who are the board members? No, I don't think I'm trying to think, of who I knew outside of them. I'm trying to think if I knew Caroline from Project Friend, and I might have heard of her. I might have heard from her through Project Friend, but I can't remember if I did or not. So
Is she-
no, I didn't hear.
Is she a new incoming board member?
No,
or-
she wasn't. And she's going to be a senior. I'm like, did she graduate?
I think she
I don't
graduated.
even know. I can't even keep track of.
I think she, if
She
I think there were
graduated.
two seniors,
think so,
Daniel
too.
and
Yes.
must be her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think she graduated, so
So
it's
she's not even.
yeah,
Robert,
Arjun and
and then, why can't I? remember?
Gabby?
Gabby,
Yeah.
Gabby, those three.
Yeah.
And I
We
believe they're.
we never did anything with them, right? Did we even see them in March? We did see
No.
them in March.
No.
Yes, two
Not
of the
on Zoom.
boys.
Oh, you're right. We did
Yeah.
see a couple of them.
Okay.
On Zoom? Not on Zoom.
No,
No,
At that
our last meeting.
Our last
in
meeting
person.
in person.
Yeah, so just in light of the fact that our meetings are recorded and, you know, we need to talk about what that will look like and that kind of thing. So I guess you can address that with Sarah and she can decide if she wants to invite them for the next meeting or maybe have one more meeting.
I agree, because this is different, right? And, yeah, we'll have to think that through. Ugh.
Are there kids on Southborough's school committee?
Is there who?
Like not voting members, obviously, but are there kids that report at the Southborough?
No, I don't think, no, I don't think
Okay.
so. Paul has been in, a million meetings because of this.
Yep,
So no, they don't have, I don't think they have a junior
okay.
comes in and speaks to them.
I know that they do here in Harvard, and, you know, just if there's not that there, then it might be really nice to have their input to our department. You know, if we need to bring in a couple of new kids or, so just a thought to throw out there.
Okay, no, that's a good one. I think that, that one of the best things that this department ever did was bring in junior board members.
Mhm.
I thought that helped a ton.
so another thought would be time frame, because our Zoom meetings have only been an hour and a half, but our in-person meetings have been much longer, and the kids like to talk for almost an hour. So we'd have to
Right.
consider that also.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna look, if they come back, it's gonna look so different. Okay,
Right.
and Megan and Shannon, do you think that we'll ever meet in person again this year, or you think no?
I don't know. I have no idea.
yeah.
Do you mean this school year or do you mean this calendar year?
I meant this calendar year, like,
I don't know.
I don't
No.
think
Oh,
so.
probably not this calendar year.
I don't know.
Getting back to your point, Shannon, I know that they're starting, and I won't, Beth, I mean, Sue, you might be able to help me out. It's a social equity initiative in the schools and looking at the curriculum, and they're looking for 1 or 2 students to join that group.
Nice.
But I don't think there aren't any students that serve on the school committee,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they can obviously attend the meetings and have attended
Yeah.
meetings for specific, to, voice concerns, specific concerns in the community.
Yeah, because their school committee members are appointed. We
Right.
vote for them. So, but I'll have to ask Paul that. I mean, I'm sure that they've had groups of kids come in with
Mhm.
concerns before. Anyone can attend their meetings, right? So,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we really just don't know what this school year is going to look like yet. And
Yeah, and that's why I was thinking that if they're not there, then at least they should have a voice somewhere,
I
and
agree. I
maybe
agree.
here would be a good place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did lose 2 junior board members, and I
Mhm.
guess if we're going to have them join us again, we need to address, are we going to replace those 2 or just
Yeah.
continue with the 3 that we
The
have?
ones we have.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a new school year, and generally we have new junior board members with every new school year. And
Mhm.
haven't Sarah already interviewed some kids for that?
I don't think so.
No,
so.
no,
I think
just
it's a-
because with the way, like normally we would have, but just
Right.
the way the year ended,
Things
Things have been different.
Natal said, when we had our little get together with Natal, she said something about her neighbors' kids interviewed.
Oh, I forget what that was
Does
for.
anybody- it was for
No,
something
not-
different.
Hmm.
no,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
not for,
It was
not for
something
that.
di- it was
No,
Yeah, no, I
different.
don't think
Okay.
so.
no, yeah, you guys, I think you guys would have been on the loop if we were doing junior board
Yeah.
members. Yeah, we normally.
I don't know. They
like,
just show up. I never knew how they showed up. Or they just show up.
And I think I feel like we should have done something formally for all of the kids that were with us for 2020,
Mm.
hmm.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
It's been hard too, I think, even with like Project Friend, for example, keeping in touch with all of the kids and like the youth council. We had so many kids at the very end, and then or not the very, but before everything became virtual, keeping in touch has also been hard.
So you're meeting with the kids today together, right? You guys have your meeting with them
Youth
today?
council,
Yeah. How many people are in that?
it depends on the day.
Week to week.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, we have a list of like 40 kids we email, but some weeks we have 10 kids, some weeks we have 5.
I'm so glad you're continuing to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
It's
And
kinda
those are
good
all
for
middle
them.
schoolers, Megan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have a couple going into high school.
And they'll continue on your youth commission, or they can?
Yeah, in some capacity, it looks a little different because we are doing it virtually. So we're not having the meetings at Trotter like we used to. So it's kind of a middle high school.
That's kind of nice. They can continue.
Yeah. So we're actually gonna pop out to have a couple minutes before we start that.
Okay.
actually.
Nice to see you, ladies.
Yes.
Nice to
Thank
see you
you.
guys
You
too.
guys
Take
too.
care.
Yeah,
Thanks,
miss you.
Bye.
Bye.
So Sue, do you know of anything else we need to talk about?
Yes, I have. Sarah got an email today, and I'll probably forward that to you afterwards. There's some talk. I'm just going to look at my phone for a minute, if you guys don't mind. The Capital Planning Committee has been tasked by the Board of Selectmen to review all of the town's current facilities, and they've come up with like a 10-year plan. They're discussing taking the South Union building, the building that Sarah is in, and asking, actually maybe taking it down. And would it be okay with Sarah to be in a temporary spot while they figured out what to do?
Hmm.
Um,
So they're talking about demolishing the building, is that what you said?
Yeah, let me see what this says here. Yes, dispose of.
Wow.
Where would she go to? Did it mention?
No, so this is just kind of, they reached out to her and wanted to know what we kind of thought about that. And, we're going to talk about it again in the future, but they want some sort of answer from the board. She has to get back to him.
The building is the offices are already too small
Right.
for what they're doing. So there was talk of using Woodward School as something else because.
Yeah, I've heard that before too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in the town's plans too. I haven't looked at the 10-year plan.
Right.
So
But I
did you
wanted
see
I
that-
wanted to make you aware of it.
Did you see the note? It says dispose of is to sell, not demolish.
Oh,
Well, that may end up being the same thing. Depends on who they sell
Sure.
it to. But I know that it's hard to heat and it's hard to cool and the windows are very expensive and it's got a lot of issues. So I'd be interested to know where they would like youth and
I mean-
families to be.
Do we have a choice if that's what the town is going to do? Then
Well-
right.
we have to, we have to do it. So
Sounds
I'm
very
I'm
disruptive.
curious about where the temporary places are, if there are choices, or
Well,
if they have one particular place in mind, or like
At the town meeting,
we're always concerned about confidentiality.
I think they're aware of that now. I think we've made that a big issue,
Right.
especially when they're doing they're seeing clients in the building, right? So
You can watch that meeting on the town's YouTubes to see what they actually talked about. But my question is, independent of where they want to put her temporarily, where do they want to put youth and family permanently? That's the big thing. I mean,
right.
if they move her and then move her.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
like how long is temporary? Like, will temporary become permanent?
Right.
I'm in favor of just moving once to the permanent location where they're going to be, inevitably put rather than into a temporary place.
I'm
And then-
gonna have to look
Susan,
at
what
that.
were you going to say?
I mean, I think that I just wanted to make you aware of it, and I think he wants some feedback. So I wanted to hear all of your opinions.
Who is he, Sue?
Jason Malinowski.
Yeah, Jason. So,
What's
I
his
don't.
role?
I feel like I don't have enough information to really give any value or feedback.
So
didn't they mention that they were long-term, that they were wanting to close one of the schools in Southborough? Because
there was some talk of that as well. It's just like what Marguerite said about maybe using, I don't know if this is true or not, using Woodward for more town offices. So I don't know what that's all about, but let me get back to her too, and maybe that's going to end up being on our next
And,
on our
um,
next meeting.
would the ping pong players have to go with this?
I don't think that the ping pong is gonna, I can't imagine what any programs this fall, right? So, and us even getting together in person through 2020, so.
I mean, I think if we have to give any feedback at all, I would say that they need to take the least disruptive avenue. That
Okay.
way. I mean, they just moved there, 2 years ago? So,
And did a lot of work. So my question would be, it would be possible for somebody to send an email to Jason Malinowski and say, could you please send us the link to the meeting where you discussed this? And then we could listen to their reasoning and hear all of their, because they're looking at every building in town, right?
Right.
So the issue is, which meeting did they discuss this in? Do they have a good idea of what we do? And that we need, basically privacy for a lot of people who use it. So
Right.
I can send him an email if you want, or Sarah can send it, maybe, or Sue, if you feel like it. I'd just like to know, I'd like to watch the meeting where they discussed us.
Okay, let me get some more information. And then we'll put it on the agenda for the next time too. But I wanted to hear some feedback from you guys too.
Well, could you forward that email to us so we can
Sure,
read that?
I will do that.
And is there a time frame? Are they saying that they want to do, whoever they are, want to do it by a certain time, or?
It's a 10-year
within a
plan. It's a 10-year plan, so
So the move might not be for like 5 years from now, you mean? Or like how
Right.
soon would the move be?
let me look more into it too, and then get back to you guys. I think because Sarah had to leave early to go to this other meeting, which was important too. So let me get back to you on that too, when I have more information myself.
Well, we sort of knew it was coming, right? I mean,
We've
had no idea.
actually talked about it a little bit.
yeah, because the building's too small, and it's just barely big enough now for them. And when one more person is added in, they're going to have to be, we're using a conference room from the rec commission. I mean, it's like we need more space. So maybe they'll find a good spot.
Right. Any other thoughts, Susan? What do you think?
Oh, well, I don't know. It is very small there, so, but I don't know where they would go unless they did close the school, like, Woodward School is way too big, though, wouldn't you think?
Well, no, they would probably use a part of the school like they do at Trotter. Some of those offices are used, no, not Trotter, at Neary, they use some of those offices by the superintendent's office.
Yeah.
So they would identify where there's excess capacity, whether it's Woodward or Finn or, I don't.
Yeah. I was thinking like maybe it would be one of the smaller elementary schools that they would close, rather than close, a larger school like Woodward. But
Well, the townhouse is too small for everybody now. So they're looking at how to expand. The senior center needs help because it only has like one bathroom. And
No,
so
they're getting one. They're getting another one.
two bathrooms.
They're getting a bathroom.
Yay, I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that. So I
Yeah.
guess capital planning is kind of looking at everything, but I'm sure they want our input about, we can, if you have a good suggestion for where we could go, I'm sure they'd be glad to hear it,
All right. I will get back to you guys with some more information. They wanted some feedback from all of you. So
Safety complex.
I
Yeah.
know.
I mean, it kind of makes sense for mental health services to be there, but
Where,
I doubt
where
they
did
have
you say?
room for us.
just so you need to go in with a mental health or emergency with the fire department on one side of you and the police department on the other.
are there any buildings left? I know they did that land swap with St. Mark's School for the golf course.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know the answer to that.
Because I know all the old fire station and the old police station now will be part of St. Mark's. That's the way I understood it. They swapped.
Right.
But are there any buildings on the golf course? Was there a clubhouse there or?
I think they moved the clubhouse. They moved the clubhouse.
Oh, okay.
So why don't I get some more information for you? I've heard what you guys all have to say. We're not making any decisions today.
No.
And we'll talk about it again. So do you think we should adjourn? Do you have any other questions?
When's our next meeting? To be determined, right?
Yes, I asked Lauren if, like, I was concerned that she couldn't make today's meeting, if Tuesdays were going to be a problem. But like I said, I think it's just until September 1st. Because I wasn't sure if maybe we should change the date and time of our meetings. Evenings are not good for Sarah, because a lot of the time she's working. So I don't know, how does this Tuesdays at 1 work for everybody else?
Well, midday is not good for me because I'm working midday. So,
Right.
I was accommodating the unusual situation, but I can't continue.
You
I
can't
think-
continue?
well,
Okay,
No, because I'm breaking up my work day, and I think Sarah Micah will be working and, so I don't know how to proceed.
What's a better time for you, Beth?
Well, the evenings, I think, were specifically because people work, during the day. So it left it open for more people to be able to join the board if they were working people.
so maybe I'll send out a poll to
Obviously,
see what
junior-
works for everybody.
And obviously junior board meetings, junior board members will have to work around the school day and after.
That's,
Yeah.
that's right too, depending
Yeah.
whether they're remote or not, so.
Yeah, so we'll have to talk with
Yeah.
Sarah and see, what her flexibility is.
Okay,
Sounds good. Okay, we're adjourning at 2:28.
Do we
okay,
have to make a motion?
yes, go ahead, Leslie.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second. Sue Butka?
Aye,
Aye.
Beth
Hi,
Foley, aye,
Landry.
Don
Right.
Bacher.
Susan, I.
Aye.
Great to see you guys. Great to see you all.